Let's begin by rubbing the palms together. So creating a little heat, a little friction between the hands. Let's keep our energy really grounded, really receptive. I'm going to invite you to keep the elbows close to the body. And let's take your hands apart now, just for a moment. See if you can feel any energy in between the palms. And then very slowly let them drift towards one another, feeling yourself come into alignment, into focus, until the palms just gently press. Make sure your prayer is a little bit away from your heart. So it's this position of reverence with the fingers pointed a little bit out, the shoulders dropping, heart lifting. Sense energy gently swirling up your spine towards the crown of your head. Take the palms face down on the thighs. Notice how you feel. See if you can sense the energy moving towards your back body. So your energy more in the back of the brain and the brain stem and the area behind your spinal column. We live most of our life in the front of our body, acting and doing. So for today's focus, as we start to move, see if you can hold your attention and awareness more towards the back of your organs, spine and brain. Or when you're ready, you can begin my favorite of all the Kundalini moves, a nice, slow, Soothe grind. Some of you might really like to be up on a cushion for this. I personally like to scooch off my cushion, so just see what works for you. You're visualizing your pelvis is this beautiful golden bowl. And your torso is this ruby encrusted ladle stirring out the basin of that bowl. If you tend to do this quickly, maybe in other Kundalini practices, I invite you to really slow it down here. Inhale forward, slow exhale back, rounding back on your sits bones. I like to visualize my heart like a flashlight, shining it over each knee. Go inward. Reverse direction. As you slowly begin to make these circles more subtle, I want you to perform your Soothe grind now, but with the rib cage. So a little bit different than we were doing previously. You can always take a quick look at the screen before you go back and tune inward from the rib cage, spiraling back to the side and forward. Slowing down your breath. We want to awaken our feminine energy. I've found we need to slow down, profoundly slow down. Reverse direction. We need to invite in non-linear feel-good movement, just like this. You can have the shoulders get a little bit involved. We need to spiral. That's the nature of this Shakti energy. It's often alluded to as a snake, although you don't have to think of it like that. But we see spirals everywhere in nature. Even our DNA strands. So that creative Shakti force responds really well to circular movement. You can imagine you have a golden hula hoop around your waist here. And then slowly come to stillness. Let those circles get smaller and smaller still. And it's just like you effortlessly arrive at center. Once you found center, lengthen the back of the neck. Inhale deeply. Hold, suspend the breath if that feels good. Lifting up on the pelvic floor, dropping the shoulders, dipping the chin. Squeezing, holding a little of that energy you've generated in your body. When you're ready, letting it go. Exhale. For our next move, you can sit on your heels. So just sitting on the heels, and if you do that, just make sure your heels are towards one another, because this is actually an acupressure point in Kundalini Yoga. You can also sit on a cushion if you have that cushion and you're more comfortable here, so whatever works for you. Moving into a slow spinal flex with the hands on the thighs, so we're also going to be touching the body. So anytime I'm working with feminine energy and slowing down and trying to get more receptive, putting the hands on the body is one of the best ways to do that. So we're doing spinal flex, which you may be really familiar with, but in a super slow-mo feminine style. So you inhale, open the heart, send the shoulders back as the hands slide down the thighs. Exhale, deeply round, C curve in the low back, and take the chin into the chest a little bit as the hands slide up the thighs. Try to coordinate these two movements, the hands on the thighs and the undulating of the spine with your breath. Inhaling forward, exhaling back. Allowing this rocking motion to feel soothing, to feel nourishing. What would feel good for you? What would make this a little more pleasurable? Maybe you want to press your hands really firmly on your thighs. Maybe you want to have a light touch, just the fingertips. Maybe you want to scratch your thighs as you move. Tuning in to what feels nourishing, pleasurable as you undulate here. Maybe you want to trace a zigzag or spiral pattern on the thighs. Feminine responds really well to play. To playfulness. Getting acquainted with your own body, what feels good. Hands on thighs. Is it 2 fingers, 1 finger, the whole palm? When you're ready, inhale at center. Press the palms into the thighs, lift the pelvic floor, drop the shoulders, take the head back, chin down, hold, suspend the breath as long as comfortable for you. Then exhale, let it go. Notice how you feel. I would love to stay in touch with you over on my podcast, the Uplifted Yoga Podcast. You can listen on iTunes and Spotify to go deeper into everything we're exploring on the mat. From my heart to yours, namaste.